Welcome back to our second podcast episode. I'm your host, Jay Walker. Welcome to Life Off Road, joined by my two sons, camera guys, my eldest, Juwan, his younger, Devin. Devin is new to the team. Welcome aboard, sir.
I appreciate being here.
Yeah. Devin is a man of many words. It's first time being on camera. It's all good, though. So, gonna do a quick recap of what the plans we've been got coming up. The last car we shot, which was a 2025 BMW M235 Grand Coupe for my friends at Global Imports BMW of Atlanta. Always appreciate Peter and those guys over there for helping us out. So, first things first, man. How was you guys' week? You know, what y'all get into this week?
I mean, I got class and just work. That's about it.
Devin's kind of like a student, one of our interns, we could say, so to speak.
Yeah, something like that.
What you studying?
It's film and production. That's really all I got for you right now.
Okay, all right. What'd you do, son?
You know, man, just working. You know, going to the gym. You know, getting into my steps and stuff. You know, that's about it. Not much. Pretty slow week.
Okay, cool. Well, normally most of y'all know I drive for Big Brown, so that's my regular gig. So just going up and down the road. You know, that's pretty much about it. Last week we had the M235. Our friends at BMW of Atlanta Global Imports. Shout outs to them. Fun little shifty car. 2 Series is kind of like BMW's intro series before the 3, so it's a smaller sedan. At some point we will be getting a M2 Coupe. Belongs to one of my friends, co-workers. She's gonna come on and show off her beauty. It's a real pretty car. But that was our first chance to get to drive the 235, the 4-door, and I was quite impressed with it. It had, quite surprising, even though they only advertised 312 horsepower, but it was a strong 312 horsepower. You know, I think that helps a lot. That is, you know, it comes with the X-Drive, which is all-wheel drive, so it definitely packed a little punch. It was a fun, shifty little car. I think it's priced at a good point, you know, for someone kind of just getting into the car game. They're trying to buy their first car. You have a lot of young tuners, you know, that can, I think I could see it kind of competing with the Subaru WRXs or, you know, those type of styles. What's funny?
I just looked at that. Sorry.
Man, y'all are silly, man. I'll make sure I edit this part.
I tried to I can't do it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's an overall fun car. You know, what did y'all think of it? What was y'all first impression? First of all, that was your first shoot. So, yeah. What was your what did you come from that? You know, how was that experience?
Overall, I had fun. I say my favorite part of it was getting the rolling shots.
Yeah, which are very good shots, by the way.
Yeah,
you can check that out on our Instagram page, J-Dub Motorsports Instagram. And this episode is brought to you by J-Dub Motorsports. We don't have a title sponsor right now, so if you guys want to sponsor us, hey, hook us up. But this episode is brought to you by J-Dub Motorsports. Go to my website, jdubmotorsports.com, YouTube channel, check out videos, all the latest. You know, you might catch a couple of blooper reels and stuff like that, but check out the YouTube page. But yeah, so overall, you like the rolling shocks and, you know, just kind of being on set there to see firsthand how we do things.
Yeah, with that being my first actual car shoot, I had fun. It was something different, something I got to get used to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like how your brother's experience when he first came on and helped me out with his first shoot. We was filming my buddy DT's old school Cutlass, and you know, we went over to his house to shoot it, and he kind of got a chance to see firsthand kind of how I do things or whatnot. And it is pretty cool. You know, I think a lot of people who kind of come around for the first time, especially my guests when we're filming their car and they get the chance to see firsthand how we do things and how seriously I take this, because I enjoy doing it and I always want to put out a good product out for you guys. So it's pretty cool. So how you think your brother did?
He did great. It was a natural.
Yeah.
He got right into it. You know, he was directing stuff on his own. I was like, oh yeah, oh good. Oh, you know, put out his inputs and stuff like that. Got some great shots behind the scenes.
Did.
So he did pretty good. I'm finna put him to work next time though.
The sibling love. But what you think of the car?
Yeah, like I said, I thought it reminded me of a Versa.
Is it size wise?
Yeah, it was. I don't want to say it's kind of like the same shape, but it kind of was.
It's kind of on that scale. I would say kind of your Versa, Nissan Sentra body style size. It's compact. It's a good. I always say it's a good kind of first car for a young teenager.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to that one as far as power wise, but you know, like I said, your younger crowd, you know, the tuners, like that would be a great car to have as a tuner car, you know, out the gate. You know, it's really like I said, over the years, BMW has really stepped up their game as far as production and putting the power and the technology in them cars, as far as getting the power out of them and the way it handles. You know, I mean, it was a pretty good ride. What was your impressions?
I like it. I like the color. It was cool. It was like my auntie would say, zippy. You know, it got moving. You know, when it wanted to. It was a little pricey. You know, for what it gave.
Yeah.
You know, compared to the other cars that we've done, 'cause we've done a lot of cars. You know, sports cars, luxury cars. And, you know, BMW tries to stay like, I guess that was like in the middle. It was like luxury and sporty at the same time.
Yeah.
So, you know, personally, not for me, but, you know, I had fun. It was cool.
Okay. And shout out to our other camera guy, Grenard. He helped us out on that shoot. He took some excellent photos. You can check out some of those pictures, like I said, on my Instagram page, JW Motorsports on Instagram. And I don't know if you tagged, I think I tagged both of y'all on pictures, but that was his first time coming and just tagging along, and he took excellent photos as well, and he'll be helping us out throughout the year. You know, I always say I can never have enough help. You know, try to keep, you know, guys, you know, busy with us or whatnot. So the upcoming shoots, we got quite a few upcoming shoots coming up. Waiting for the last little bit of this weather to kind of get out the way. It's been kind of raining the last few weekends and cold, and then now we're in the spring, so we got a lot of pollen out or whatever. The good thing about last week was that car that we actually picked was probably the cleanest one in the garage. I think they had just got done detailing it, because we saw a couple of other cars in there that we was looking at, and we probably would have had to detail them right on the spot, and I was like, that just would have took way extra time or whatnot. But that car, I think they might have just pulled it out the showroom floor and put it in the garage, so we didn't have to do nothing but just drive it. It was a beautiful day, sunny, showed off the paint. That was such a pretty color. I think it was called Tuscan and Blue Metallic too. I think I forgot the color of it, but it was a pretty color, and it definitely shined good on camera. So that was pretty cool. So we'll be going back up there probably in a few weeks to film some more cool stuff for those guys. So we got a couple of cool shots coming up. Later this week, I got my man JC with his old school BMW and Mercedes drop tops. That should be fun. Got Daryl Simmons, his newest, you know, addition to his Ferrari club. Joey B, you know, his Ferrari and Porsche, you know, got coming up. We still got to get Keaton and his Ford GT. I mean, we got a lot of cool stuff. My man Muscle Mike, his Lotus, and possibly we might be taking a trip up in the air. You know, he's a pilot, you know, so he has his own plane. So we might be get it with him soon. Like I said, we're kind of trying to wait on this weather to kind of get out the way, and so we can kind of just get this thing rolling for the new year. So really looking forward to that. That should be fun. Those shoots like that are always fun. So I know you're going to enjoy that. That was one thing that I can always appreciate. Because you see guys, those type of cars. That's a whole nother level to automobile. Seeing stuff like that and really getting an in-close depth look on the architecture, design of the car. I mean, it's just outstanding. So that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to. So, but yeah. So what do you guys got coming up? What y'all think of the tournament so far? We're in tournament time this week. March Madness.
Yeah, we got all the blue bloods doing what the blue bloods do. We ain't really got a Cinderella this year. And
yeah, so NIL is probably contributing to that in the portal.
Yeah, it is what it is. They're gonna have to catch up. They're gonna have to figure it out over in basketball. Everybody can't complain that everybody's getting paid now. They've been milking these athletes for all this money. They ain't getting nothing for them. Yeah. So they're gonna have to figure it out. But I've been really focused on the women's because the women's a little bit more interesting right now because there's no real I don't know anybody's name in the men's. It's not like a real standout.
Other Cooper flag.
Of course. Yeah. There's no real big standouts to me. So yeah, I caught that UNC Duke game yesterday with the women's, and Duke pulled it out. Then they ended up beating them by 10. It wasn't very competitive towards the end. Then that South Carolina came on, and they do what they do. So
yeah,
we'll see them, and you got LSU doing their thing. It's a lot of talent down there. So I'm excited to see what they get to next week with the Final Four and stuff like that. Yeah. My school, they're in the NIT, the men's basketball team. They're in the Final Fours. I think they got their game coming up in a couple of days.
And your school is?
It's Chattanooga. UT Chattanooga.
UT Chattanooga.
So they played Loyola Chicago up there with Sister Jean the next couple of days. So that should be very interesting.
Shout out to Sister Jean. I think she's she's over 100, I think.
Up there, very white numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be cool, man. The only damper I hated for the women's game was that Juju tore her ACL. I really hate to see that because I really want to see. I think between them, either South Carolina or UConn was kind of on a collision course, and I really want to see that, but that kind of just put a damper. I don't think USC. They probably could still win it without her, but I think it's going to be a lot tough. But I think that I know she was going for that record for Caitlin Clark. That might have just went out the window unless she redshirts next year, because that injury, that's going to be a full year of recovery for her. So the only way I could probably see her realistically getting the all-time scoring record is if she probably redshirts next year and comes back and does another 2 years. She might still have a shot at it because, WNBA, why run to them when you can make more money in college, and they talking about possibly striking in WNBA. We'll see, because I think their contract is coming up because they want more pay. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that, see how that works out. But everybody's getting that name, image, and likeness. Money is because I think Juju has Nike. I think she got her own shoe. I know I've seen her on some State Farm commercials. So hey, it's gonna be it still should be a good final. I think the men's will have a good intriguing Final Four coming up this week. We're in the Elite 8 Sweet 16 bracket right now. So I watched Michigan go down to Auburn last night. Auburn's the overall #1 seed. They look pretty good. Michigan hung with them for a little bit, and I think they probably ran out of gas. But it was still a compelling game. entertainment. I think Duke plays today, or tonight rather. They're playing. Who is Duke playing?
I just seen it. I forgot.
It's not Tennessee. It's I can't think off my head. But yeah, that should be entertaining. So, who you like in the? Or you like your brother? You like the college?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with the women's more than, cause since Juju got hurt, I think they're big. Who Kiki?
Yeah,
what's her name? She been going off. I think her last game she just had like 39.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean I wouldn't count them out yet.
Yeah, they definitely still have a great shot, of doing it. So it should be coming along pretty good. Next up, we got what is this? J5 Mama blocking. Since we got Juju on our mind, earlier this week, I guess they had just finished their game. Obviously, this was prior to her getting injured, but they had finished their game, and Jay Daniels was in the stands. Him and his mama taking forth for the festivities, and Juju walks down, and I guess Jaden's mom must have went, to the concessions or something, and Juju proceeds to sit down next to Jaden, and they look like they were having a great conversation. I mean, of course, all the cameras are all on them, and they just skinning and grinning, both of them, and next thing I know, Mama just, the camera goes back to them, and Mama's right there in the middle, I guess you could say she was blocking, and I'm like, wow, she's definitely protective of her child. What you guys think about that?
I think it gets to a point.
Yeah.
It gets to a point. I mean, it's Juju. It's not like it's...
Which is a very pretty young lady.
I think it would be different.
I think so, too. I mean, Juju's an athlete, so I'm sure that's one thing I would think that would probably be a good match. They kind of on the same level as far as, being in competition, being an athlete. So I don't think she's just out here just trying. Ain't like she needs. I mean, as you see, she's got her own money. I mean, she's making a lot of money in college. So it's not like she's trying to be a hanger on or whatever. And Jay looked like he was enjoying the conversation. I mean, you kind of, like I said, every time the camera showed them, all you saw was teeth. So
as soon as that camera came back, they both just face.
Yeah.
Mama don't play. She said a long time ago, she was like, Jada can't have no girlfriend. Like she said, ain't no girls around here. He's not getting distracted. But that ain't your choice. That's on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Juju not good enough for him, then who is? Who is then? That's what they do,
I'll keep my comments to myself, but gotta let the young man. At some point, you're not gonna be around him all the time. Let's just put it that way.
Is she his agent, like Lamar?
I think so. It's either his agent or his manager. I'm not sure, but she's probably. And I'm a fan of, you have to have people around you. You have to have people tell you, no. You can't have yes men around you all the time. Yeah. But certain situations you can't just and Jaden's still young. He's 24, 25, if that. I mean, he's going into his second year, coming off a nice little playoff run. I mean, he's the Heisman Trophy winner. He's up and coming. We'll see how year 2 goes for him, but it should be interesting coming up. So we'll see. That's going to be continued. You have to keep an eye on that. Baseball starting to open the date this week. Atlanta Braves took one on the chin. I'm assuming they lost last night too. I didn't get a chance to check that game out. Hey, y'all had a chance to even see any of the game?
I watched it, in my ways. I'm not gonna tell you how I watch baseball because they like basketball now, and they telling you oh, you can watch a couple games here. Oh, you gotta watch them here. You gotta subscribe to this. Not doing that. Not doing that. Anyways, I watched it. You know, I watched.
Don't you have the same service we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I watched it, and you know, Braves, they look good. They look great. You know, they're leading down going into, you know, the bottom of the innings. You know, you get down to 7th or 8th, and that bullpen just can't keep up. You know, that I don't know what Smith's gonna have to do. And we're not panicking, of course. They're only 0-2, and they played San Diego. Like,
yeah,
that's a great.
Which
squad.
San Diego is a good team.
And they got Tatis back. You know, hopefully he can stay clean because he's a very entertaining player. You know, hopefully that was just a mistake, one-time thing that happened. But, you know, that's, I mean, what can you expect? They lost both games by like 1 run, I think. So, they're pretty good. Everybody's looking good. I'm ready for Ronnie to come back. I just don't want them to rush him. Just please do not rush Ronnie back. It's the second time. We don't.
Ronald Acuna, NL MVP from a couple years ago.
And we got Strider, Chris Sale, everybody's, you know, looking good. So, you know, we're just working on pitching right now. When pitching gets locked in, because Ozuna, you know, Matt Olson gonna hit his stride pretty soon. You know, we're gonna be straight. I'm excited for the summer.
Cool, that should be fun. Did you get a chance to check out any game, or you was busy?
It's been
in the books. You're a baseball guy. You like to watch baseball. You're not into baseball like that.
I mean, I like going to games, but I don't really sit down and watch it.
Nah, okay. It's just too much to hold your attention span.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
There's room type of games where you have on, you know, but it's not like a football game where you sitting down like locked in. You know?
I get easily distracted from the game.
Yeah. So. Our Atlanta Hawks. So y'all know we're based out of Atlanta, my hometown, born and raised, Ben Hill, Zone 4. Shout out Darrell High School. Our Hawks, man, that was a bad loss the other night against the damn Philly. Was it Philly we lost to?
I mean, we just lost to the Heat, too.
Miami, that's who it was. Miami was, it was Miami. We beat Philadelphia. My apologies, yeah. So they all loses 2 straight, man. We got Milwaukee tomorrow. We're still in the 7th seed right now. We have to, you know, we still a half game up on Orlando for that final 7th spot. So as it stands right now, we will have a home game versus Orlando for the 7th seed. We win that, we're the 7th seed. We lose, we drop down to 8th. We play the winner of the 9th to 10th seed at home. So technically, we would get 2 home games. I don't even want to come down to that. I would have loved to try to catch Detroit. Detroit kind of had a little slip up, but they won their last 2 out of 3. And they actually got a chance. We actually can help them because if we beat Milwaukee tomorrow, they got a chance to go up to the 5th or 4th spot. So I want to try to get that 6th spot just to get in the playoffs. I like our team, man. You know, I was really upset when the trade first happened. We traded DeAndre Hunter and got 3 guys back. I didn't know who LeVert and those guys were. I've seen George Yang kind of in the past or whatever. And Terrence Mann, I remember him from Florida State. He was a solid player, but he didn't really do anything. But it seems like since those guys been here, they're pretty good players. They all contributed. You know, George reminds me, they call him G-Wagon. He reminds me a lot of Gallo. He's like our Gallo 2.0. You know, he can shoot that thing. You know, he's not really athletic. He's not really a good defender, but you leave him open, man, he'll shoot your lights out. So, you know, I like him. Karis LeVert, I think we definitely need to try to bring him back. He's definitely solid off the bench. He's had a couple of stumblings the last couple of games, but he's a solid, good player off the bench. Terrence Mann, I just love his athleticism. I think he's a lot bigger in person. You see him. He's sneaky athletic. I mean, he can kind of go up on you and continue to rise. Next thing you know, he's dunking on you. I'm like, damn, okay. And he's got a nice. He's a good defender. I think between him and LeVert, they're probably definitely good defenders. So. Hopefully, we can get a nice little playoff run. where it'd be playing the Celtics of Cleveland, and we could win. You know, you've seen a lot of stuff happen in the first round, but I just think that we're just a little too inconsistent right now. Yeah. We definitely got to get healthy. That's been a main problem of ours, not staying healthy. So, you know, we'll get Jalen Johnson back next year and a couple other guys, and then we'll see, man. But, you know, what do y'all think?
King of mid, that's all I can say. That's all I can say.
The most mid team of all time is the Hawks, man.
Yeah.
They, I don't know how they do it. They go above and beyond at being mid. We've been in the play-in for
since it's been here.
Since they created.
Since it's been here, I think that, you know, 21, man, that was 4 years ago we went on that playoff run. And I tell people back then, when we did that playoff run, we should have won the title. If Trey didn't step on that referee's foot, I think we would have finished off Milwaukee. We would have killed the Suns. We probably would have beat them at least 4 games to 2. And that's not me sound like a homer. We had a really good team back then. And then it seemed like, you know, we started paying guys. Our owner doesn't want to spend money. He doesn't want to go over the luxury tax. And I just think that we might have been kind of feeling ourselves. You know, we came out the next year and kind of thought that we had arrived. You know, Trey thought he had arrived. He was still kind of trying to mature. And, you know, I think that was the first year to play in. The following year, I think. Or maybe it was the year after. I can't remember. But that 21 run, man, that playoff run, like that was some of the loudest moments you heard in that building, man. It was incredible, and I definitely want us to get back to that stage, you know. So hopefully, like I said, we can get in there, and anything can happen in the playoffs, man. It's all about getting hot at the right time, for the most part. So
it's not happening.
You know,
it's okay though. It's not gonna happen, but it's okay. The Hawks, I love the Hawks. I'm gonna root for the Hawks. I'm always gonna root for the Hawks. It's just in the way that the league is set up now. You need 2 stars, not just Trey and somebody that's up and coming. I'm not saying nothing against Jalen Johnson because he could be him.
Yeah, you need that dude.
He's close.
You need that dude.
But you need the way the league is now. Like even the Suns, they got KD, D Book. We ain't talking about.
They have no bench.
Yeah, but, so like, but you have to have 2 stars. LeBron has Luka now, you know, and I mean until a couple of games ago, I thought it was a shoo-in for them to go to the finals, but they
had a good 2 weeks.
They're reeling right now, but you have to have at least 2 stars, and the Hawks, like you said, the owner refuses to go into luxury tax. They have to get somebody that's ready. You know, if we go get Zion, that'd be a different story. We go get Zion. I don't know. We might be back deep playoff runs as long as he's healthy.
Yeah, if Zion stays healthy, but you just don't know. You know, just coming off of what he's been doing in New Orleans, and I think point blank, he didn't want to go there. I mean, I'm just gonna say that up front. He wanted to come here. You know, he wanted to be close to home. You know, Zion's from South Carolina. Obviously, y'all know he went to Duke, but he never wanted to go to New Orleans. So I don't know if he was trying to eat his way out of New Orleans. He's lost a lot of weight now, but he couldn't really stay healthy. But he's just not really been the man, you know, since he's been there. He's gotten paid like the man, but he hasn't really done anything. But you just need that second guy. And we need a big man. That's another thing. That's kind of the main thing with the Hawks, is that we don't have a true big man. You know, Capella is way past his prime. Onyeka is not a 5. I love Onyeka, but he's just not a 5. He's an undersized 5. You know, somebody like a Bam Adebayo, you know, who's 6'10", that can shoot, can kind of spread the floor. You know, we need a solid big along with somebody to help Trey.
Yeah, I'm saying if they had another player like Zion, you know, we'd be in a better spot. It won't be as mid, at least, you know, as long as he stay healthy and, you know, stay out the streets.
Yeah. I think like I always said, Zion always wanted to come here. Cause like I said, he's from South Carolina, so he, you know, if he came here, it would definitely be a party in State Farm Arena for sure. Cause we still need that athletic four. Maybe a change of scenery would be nice. You know, he'd have to definitely have somebody. He would definitely have to. I think Trey is at the level now. He's definitely matured. That he would take him on his wing and be like, "Hey, look, you know, this is how we do things here. You know, can't be out here doing dumb shit." That's one thing you don't hear about the Hawks is them guys are pretty much to themselves. You know, they're not really out here, you know, wilding out. Even though ATL, you could really do that. You know, I think Zion's problem was you in Louisiana, you got great food. You know, you need that person beside, like, hey, don't do this. You know, need to hire you a professional chef, which he probably has done.
Put that BA down.
To put that big A down.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know, man. You know, Hawks have, like I said, anytime it's always a good time to get hot toward the end of the season. So we keep that 7 seed. We either face Cleveland or Boston, and hey, try our guys out there. See what happens, man. You know, it's the NBA. I don't expect much. I do want to go to the playoff games. I do enjoy the playoff environment. It's nothing like the playoff games are a lot different than just a regular home game. You know, it's just more energy. It's a buzz. Like I said, that 21 season, man. We opened up the series with the Knicks, and I'll never forget the first game that we had here because we had to open up on the road in the Garden. And I remember how live the Garden, like you see it on TV, you could feel it. Like the Garden, playoff time in Madison Square Garden is like really intimidating. We went up there and won that first game. So when we got here, you know, I'm kind of thinking, okay, a lot of New Yorkers, including one of my best friends, lives here. So it's a lot of transplants here in Atlanta. So I'm thinking, okay, it's probably going to be about 4,000 or 5,000 Knicks fans in there. And I remember we got to the game late. And I remember as we was walking in, the game had just started. And we got the ball. And I could, you know, whenever we get the ball first, you hear the do, do, do. And you hear the crowd chanting, "Let's go Hawks." And when I heard that, I had never heard it outside the doors. I was like, damn, we kind of crunk in there. You know, you saw a couple of New York people walking around, but it wasn't much. That was one of the first things I know. I was like, man, okay, ATL has showed up. There's a lot of, I mean, I don't see too many Knicks fans. I mean, I see 1 or 2 here, but it ain't like the normal. And the closer we got in, I was like, damn, it's loud in here. I was like, man, it's like every time we score, you just heard like a roar. And I think part of that too was, you know, we was coming out of COVID. They had finally opened up the arena, you know, because throughout the year, me and my cousin Norman, you know, we was going to the games where it was just 1,000 people in the stands. You know, it was very eerie. Everybody was spread out, you know. But, you know, you watch the basketball, but it just, you know, it was no energy there. And then when the playoffs started, I think New York's probably one of the first ones like, F this, we finna just open it up, you know. So I was like, man, I wonder if we gonna do that. Sure enough, we did. And I remember just feeling that electricity, man. You just feeling goosebumps. And when we got to our seats, I was like, and I'm looking around the stands, you just see just red and just, it's Atlanta. I'm like, yeah, this reminds me of the old Omni days, you know. And you had, like I said, a couple of New York fans, but it wasn't, if I had to guess, it might have been maybe 1,000 of them in there, maybe 2,000 at the most. Just spread it out. But it wasn't, like when they scored, it wasn't, you didn't hear no roar or nothing like that. Like you would hear, you know, if the Lakers was in town. And that was a great feeling. And we was intense. And I remember, you know, I record all the games, of course. So when I get home, I want to see how it sound. And I'll never forget the first time out, one of the commentators was talking during the timeout, and we was cheering. I think we was coming out of timeout, and she's like, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but it's so loud in here, I can't even hear myself talk. And I was like, yeah, we showed up. So hopefully, you know, we get back to that. You know, that's it's always fun to do the playoff games.
Yeah, we ain't got no shot against Boston though. That ain't happening.
No.
Maybe Cleveland though. It's just we play well with Cleveland. We play Cleveland a lot. That's
Cleveland's hot.
Cleveland is
We
hot.
beat them twice earlier when we had Dre and Jalen, Bogey. But man, we'll see.
Yeah, for one, I'm glad they traded DeAndre. I'm sorry. I'll say it. He should have been gone 2 years ago. I'm mad he got hot this year, and he found his role as the sixth man.
Yeah.
And then they traded him away. That kind of sucked that he was finally playing well.
Yeah.
But once he was when he was playing, when we had him and we had the expectations on him as number 4 pick.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing like it. He was inconsistent. He'll show up one game, show up another game. He showed up to an elimination game one time where there was no point of even playing because we was going to go home anyway. Dropped 39 or something like that.
Against Miami.
Yeah, and it was
we almost won that game. They fouled out that game.
So
I always liked Dre though, man. Dre's problem, he couldn't stay healthy either. Ironically, the last 2 years he's been healthy, and I think I knew Quinn liked him, our head coach. I think Quinn tried to find a role, and I always said Dre is better coming off the bench. Bogey's better coming off the bench. Just keep them. We always had second units. We went on that run in 21. That's kind of what carried us. Gallo, the Herders, Lou Will. We had a bench. Our second unit was probably the best second unit in the NBA, in my opinion. That's not me being a homer. Because guys could shoot. And I think we lost that. We lost a lot of those guys. But I think, I wish Dre well. He's a good guy. I met him a couple of times. Real cool, low-key guy. And, we'll see how he does in Cleveland, because Cleveland definitely didn't need him. But, I think Cleveland got him to face Boston, because he is a great defender. So he can step up to Jalen and Tatum and them. He can check those guys. He's a solid defender. So I think that's kind of why Cleveland got him, just for that series, to get them over the hump against Boston. So we'll see. Our last segment is going to be the news that's been hovering around all week, man. Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Obviously, people that know me swear that I'm a LeBron hater. I'm not. I think LeBron is a phenomenal basketball player. He is not the GOAT. There's Michael Jordan. There's everybody else. There's no need to go back and forth with it. But I think this whole incident that happened with him and Stephen A. at the game really triggered a lot of this. I think that was kind of grandstanding. I think LeBron could have handled that a lot better than what he did. He knew the cameras was on him. Obviously, he did it in the middle of the game.
Right into the camera.
You knew the professional that Stephen A. is. You knew Stephen A. wasn't going to react unless LeBron just happened to touch him, which we knew that wasn't going to happen, because they know they're on camera. All cameras on them, and you want to look like a fool on camera, pushing each other. You don't want another Shannon Sharp incident courtside. So I think that could have been handled well. I never thought it was about Bronny, even though LeBron tried to use that as saying, stop shitting on my son, when it really is it's deeper than that. Which we all know Stephen A. didn't say anything about Bronny. My personal opinion, Bronny should have never got drafted. You can't sit here and tell me he's one of the 55 best college players coming out of college, coming out of USC averaging 5 points. Can he get better? Sure he can. But we all know that, we all know why he's on the team. Everybody knows that. LeBron runs a lot of organizations, including the Lakers. Can you imagine if Dan Hurley took that job?
Yeah, that wasn't happening. That's why he didn't take the job.
Yeah.
Because he knew he wasn't the coach.
That wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the whole incident. It's gotten worse. LeBron went on Pat McAfee was a lightning rod, and that was predetermined. You got to think, everything LeBron does is very calculated.
Yeah.
He's not a dummy, you know. That he had Rich, you know, Pat McAfee had Rich Paul on the show a couple of weeks ago. You know, so it's just kind of ironic, you know. The Lakers in town, they playing Indiana. I don't know when that was filmed. It probably had to been filmed during the day because McAfee goes live at noon, so it probably had to be that day. The game was that night, so I'm assuming the Lakers probably flew in the night before, so it had to be done that day. And LeBron never opens up like he does. You know, he kind of wanted to go out there, try to do some digging at Stephen A. by going on Pat McAfee's platform. You know, people can love or hate Pat McAfee, but that's a trend now. You know, he's the lightning rod. You know, and he got him. Hell, if I had a chance to get LeBron on this show, I would take him. You know, our ratings would go up. You know, but
it's LeBron in the house.
Yeah, you know, but hey, you know, like I said. I never, you know, LeBron is a great player, but I always thought that he always wanted to be liked, and he always wanted to be iconic like Jordan, and he'll never get to that. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying this, but he'll never get to that level. You know what I'm saying? You come in, you want to wear his number, you want to do the powder toss, you know. That's okay. You know, everybody want to be like Mike. That's why he had a song about it, you know. But like I said, players today, when they see MJ walk in, hell, Shannon Sharp just said it a couple of days ago. To this day, when you see MJ walk up, it's like you're seeing a ghost. You know, it's like a bright light. It's like an aura light. I won't say it's stage fright, but it's just like, damn. You know, when they had the NBA 75th players, you saw it amongst the current players like Dame Lillard. You heard all them talking like, damn, that's really MJ. You know, I mean, that's just the aura that he has. And like I said, LeBron's a great player. He's a great scorer. He's a great all-around basketball player. I just thought that he's never had any killer instinct. But enough about that. The whole situation between them two is very, very petty. They both look bad. You know, Stephen A. fired. I think when Stephen A. did the first apology about what happened, that should have been it. That should have been the end of it. But, you know, as LeBron said, he went on his Taylor Swift tour, you know, going on Gilbert Arenas, you know, show and talking about it. And I think that's kind of what escalated all this. So, your thoughts?
He didn't even have to say that he was going to put his hands on him.
Yeah.
So it was like, what was the point?
You didn't watch? You didn't see what he said. Don't nobody know what Stephen A. said. This is what Stephen A. said. He said, him walking up on me, you know, it wasn't going to turn into a Will Smith, Chris Rock incident. He said if LeBron would have, he wasn't going to stand right there and just take it. He said if LeBron would have hit him, he would have swung back on him. But before he said that, he said, I would have got my butt whooped. Like, he understands.
He knows he's not going to fight LeBron and win. He knows that.
But he's
not going to stand there and just let somebody punk him and intimidate him.
Yeah,
like Charles Barkley said the other day when him and Shaq got into their fight. You know, Charles knows Shaq could probably whoop his ass. But at that time, when I don't know if y'all seen that video, but when Charles threw the ball at him, like, what the fuck you doing, you know? And you got 20,000 people in the stands, you know, it's like, okay, let's go. You know, you might get me, but hey, I'm not going to let you pump me in front of all these folks. And I think by LeBron doing what he did, you're in Staples Center. Like I said, you can tell it was pre-calculated. You know, he looks right at the camera once he walks off, like, which camera I'm on. You know, get that.
You got it.
You know, but you didn't want to make like Stephen A. said, you want to make a fool out of both of you with the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. You didn't want that because that just makes both of you look bad.
Yeah.
So, but I think, my honest opinion, they both need to sit down and talk man to man. You know, Stephen A. has said he's willing to go on his show. He actually wanted to go on the shop, but you know, LeBron, I don't think LeBron wanted to be there or whatever. They weren't going to edit. I think they should have a sit down live, you know, where everything's kind of fresh, talk it out, and be done with it, you know. But I don't think this is going to end anytime soon, unfortunately.
I think it's funny. I think I'm disagreeing a little bit with you with you know.
As far as what?
About, you know, okay, Jordan's the best player ever. I give you that.
Okay.
Wait till LeBron stop playing for a couple years, and y'all gonna miss it. It's gonna hit. You know.
No, because like I said, I know that I'm gonna miss watching him play for sure. Yeah. I mean, I felt people don't know this about me. I didn't like Kobe because I thought Kobe wanted to be Mike, but I respected Kobe's game. You know, because he was basically a clone of Mike. And he did everything like Mike. He wanted to talk like him, walk like him, everything. But Kobe had that killer instinct, and I respected Kobe's game. And I appreciate him, you know, playing. I like to watch good basketball. You know what I'm saying? I like to watch, you know, even though I root against LeBron, but hell, I mean, I would pay to still watch him play. You know, so I think that when I say, you know, iconic status, you know, GOAT-wise, of course you can't compare, because this is another thing LeBron kind of stepped into it too, with comparing the eras and saying how he doesn't like to compare eras, but then turns around and says, well, if Giannis would have played in the 70s, he would have averaged 250 points, or he would score 250 points, which is asinine, because Giannis, if you took Giannis today's Giannis back then, yeah, he would play that. But if Giannis would have came up back then, those guys weren't playing like that then. You know, like the Bill, because you're taking a shot at Dr. J and Bill Russ and all those. That's how those guys were playing. Big man wasn't bringing the ball up the court. You know, they was down in the block back then in the 60s and 70s. So when I say the iconic status, you know, MJ, you know, it was Magic and Michael. When you look at the documentary of the Olympic team, the Dream Team, you know, you hear Michael them tell him like, hey, I'm the sheriff in town. And Magic them was like, yeah, you're right. You know, I mean, we can't, him and Bird was like, yeah, you know, it's your time now, you know. Because Magic and Larry Bird saved the NBA back in the day. Fun fact, I don't know if y'all know this, but you know, Magic and Bird's national championship game is still the highest rated championship game in history of college basketball.
Really?
To this day. It's the highest rated.
Well,
back in 1979. No other game has ever passed it or come close. That's how big and iconic those guys were. MJ just came and took it to the next level, you know, with the whole shoes deal and everything. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just iconic status. That's one of the things I loved about The Last Dance. Did y'all watch that documentary? The 10 part, did you watch it?
Nah.
Okay, that's a homework assignment for you. You need to, the next time we do a shoot, I need to at least hear that you watch the first 2 episodes.
Right.
You need to make sure you watch that, because you need to see that just to kind of to get a perspective.
Sure.
Because that was well done about, you know, following him around. You know, not just that 98 team, but just kind of Jordan's whole career. You know, it's very well done.
Yeah, you see how great he was.
It's one of the best documentaries I've seen. You know? So
Jordan was before my time, so I wasn't conscious to watch Jordan play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a little bit of a bias, but the way I'm saying that is like when LeBron stops that myth that
LeBron's time
it's gonna grow.
Yeah, it is.
It's like how everybody hated the Star Wars prequels when they came out, and now everybody loves them. It's gonna grow up, and then everybody's gonna be like, what? You don't like that reference? You don't like the Star Wars? Everybody loves Revenge of the Sith, but first, oh no, I hate this movie. You know. Anyways, yeah, just his. You know, I think LeBron's problem with this is Stephen A. said that he's Stephen A. always said that he's number 2, and LeBron wants to be number 1. I can't speak for LeBron. I don't know how that goes, but this has been blown way out of proportion. The incident at the game. LeBron could have just easily been like, hey, bro, let me holler at you in the tunnel. You know, something easy.
Way before the game. You know, these guys could have these guys got each other's numbers. You know, they know how to get a hold of them. One thing I can reference, Shannon Sharp, when him and KD had their little spat going back and forth. And this is back when Shannon was on the old show. And they was in the rest. They was, I don't know if they was at a game or somewhere, but KD saw him. He's like, man, let me holler at you, And it was off to the side. It went at a game. I think they was in a hotel lobby or something. And KD was like, man, what's the deal? Why you don't like me? What's going on? He asked him straight up. And I think LeBron could have did it. He'd be like, hey man, I don't like what's going on. Maverick called Stephen A. see if he wanted to come on, or, come to the house. Whatever. They both live in LA, so it ain't like they can't get to each other. That was definitely the wrong way to handle it. But LeBron has to understand, and like I said, everybody wanted to be like Mike. That's what's funny about this, because you want to be proclaimed the best, and you're great for this time. When LeBron came out, LeBron had all the pressure in the world, being the chosen one. He was one of the first ones they started showing high school games. Hell, I was watching them. You was a baby then. I think he was probably 5 or 6. But he was a phenomenon. And he's handled the most pressure, especially in the social media environment. He's never been in trouble. He's a family guy. He never heard any negative stuff. But, I just think that game-wise, LeBron, the NBA is a lot weaker now than it was back then. They don't let you play. You can't hand check guys no more. Guys shoot a lot of threes. They travel. He's the king of travel. And, he takes 4 or 5. Well, okay, point intended. But, he travels a lot. He cries about foul. They talk about some Mike complain about fouls. Not like this.
They got a whole Jordan rule.
They had Jordan rule, but Jordan wasn't faking getting choked out or punched in the throat and then going down. It's a lot of clips that you see of LeBron just going down like he just got shot by a 12 gauge. That's
how you're playing the game. When you're not doing no soccer, flopping.
It's to each his own. But it's good to hear your perspective, because you are in that millennial class.
I like LeBron. I like Stephen A. too. I literally watched Stephen A. whole interview where he was like, yo, this is what happened. I didn't want to talk about it, but he went out there and talked about it. Mm-hmm. And I was never coming at Bronny. And I don't think he really said anything bad about Bronny. I don't know.
He didn't. Only thing I think that, and this is my opinion that I agree with Stephen A., was that LeBron, and a lot of people, players included, said that LeBron didn't really do him no favors by putting him out there like that, because you knew that kid wasn't ready.
On the Lakers.
You should have had... You get drafted because none of the players on that team are going to talk now because they're currently playing. But I guarantee you, years down the road, when guys are retiring older, somebody's going to talk like, man, I ain't like that shit. This boy just brought his son and he took a spot for somebody.
Martin's a great player though. So he's growing.
He's growing. I think that they should have did the one game. Open the game. He should have been down the
should have gotten to South Bay. He played in South Bay, every night. Yeah. It's personally, you said the whole 5 points thing. Bronny had a big cardiac event that set him.
Yeah, he did, and that's why I think he should have went back to school after that. He should have did at least another year.
I think school, college, for some of these players, especially if you Bronny been getting trained by LeBron his whole life, so he's been getting trained on how to play NBA wise. The college game and NBA game are 2 total different games.
That's true.
So it would have hindered him by playing more in college because he's not playing the same game. It's not developing him. If anything, he should have. I think they just got rid of the straight to the G League team, the Ignite team, and that would have been great for him to go and do that, or even go overseas like LaMelo, play another pro style game, but. It's neither here nor there. He's in a league, and everybody's like, why y'all talking about the 55th pick? It's because his name is LeBron James Jr. That's why they're talking about LeBron James Jr. There's no other reason.
Yeah.
You don't get mad at it because that's why.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you expect. And LeBron did that. LeBron, he didn't know how good he was going to be. He didn't know how iconic he was going to be to set his kid up like that. and it's no shame on being able to set up for your family.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
His name is LeBron James Jr., bro. He's going to get all this attention. Bryce is not going to get the same type of attention that Bronny is getting, just off a name and just off of the things that LeBron did to set him up to get into the league. He was like, I'm going to go wherever my son is. You want me to drive my son? LeBron did that. I love LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan now. I wasn't back in the day because he's a torment the Hawks. But now he's on the West Coast. You know, I'm cool. But, you know, like, you did that. That's on you. And it's not that much of a big deal unless you want to make it a big deal. He's fine. Bronny's fine. You're good. Y'all going to be set for life. He's going to have a great career. It's all right.
We'll continue to watch. I hope he does well. You know, he's gotten a lot better down there in the G League time. So, you know, only time would tell, because LeBron is definitely, you know, on the down. He's probably at that last hole, you know, of finishing up his career. You know, playing 22 years in the league. That's one of the big things I will always give him credit, was that man's never been hurt, like major injury. He takes care of his bodies. I mean, I'd shake his hand. That'd be the first thing I would shake his hand for. I mean, just being there and being taking his craft, perfecting his craft, and taking care of his body. You know, I mean, that's big time. And he's got a lot of miles on him. I mean, a lot. This kid's been playing since he was 18. So at some point, Father Time, it's going to hit, you know.
Maybe.
Well,
LeBron.
I don't think nobody's invincible, man. Never thought it would happen to Kobe. And then it just, Kobe, that last year, man, he was a shell. I was like, damn. I mean, I hated seeing him. I was like, damn, you know, because you're so used to seeing it. And it happens to everybody, man. It's going to happen to him.
That's that Mamba's mentality. You know, Kobe be in the gym 5 a.m. every morning.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of miles on your body.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, Kobe can't. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just a matter of time. They both, you know, Kobe played 20 years. You know, but when that Achilles happened, that was it. You know, he's never the same. So we'll see, man. You know, these guys. I appreciate watching these guys play. You know, I've watched a lot of guys, a lot of basketball from the 80s to now, you know, Steph Curry, to even the young up-and-comers, you know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you know, these new guys coming up. You know, it's fun to watch these guys' careers as they go forth. And, you know, LeBron's probably got a year or two left. You know, we'll see.
He's trying to hold out for Bryce. I see him holding out for Bryce out there. Don't nobody on no Bryce hate train, because Bronny was just as good in high school. He might not have been an All-American. He might have got that from nepotism, but like, you weren't going to leave LeBron James. So yeah. Anyways, Bryce is really good too. Y'all see him.
They saying Bryce is better than Bronny.
And I think
that's always been the case. What do you think of all this?
He just shot up too.
Yeah.
Mean growth spurt.
Yeah. I think Bryce is better than Bronny.
Yeah.
Mr. LaMelo Alonso is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. Like I said, stay tuned for more of the car content. You know, our podcast, we're not going to just be talking all about cars. Obviously, as you can see, we talk about the latest current events in sports. As most of you know, I'm a big sports fan. All of these guys are sports fans, so it's cool to have interesting dialogues, especially from the young bucks, because I'm the eldest in the room. But yeah, we're probably throwing some music the next podcast. Got some cool shoots coming up. Like I said in the beginning of the video, we got a lot of car guys coming up. My man JC and his old school classics from BMW, Mercedes. Got Daryl Simmons coming up with his latest Ferrari. My man Joey B, his latest Ferrari and Porsche. Muscle Mike, Keaton, y'all stay tuned, man. We're gonna have some fun shoots as we kick off the spring and summertime here on J-Dub Motorsports, Life Off Road. So, any last words you got?
I'm good.
All right. So your homework assignment is the first 2 episodes of The Last Dance. And our next shoot, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna quiz you and see what you thought. So, because you can pull it up right on Netflix and watch it. So, You make sure he does it. You got any last thoughts?
No, I'm good. Chilling. Yeah. See you next time.
All right. Thanks again, folks. This episode, Life Off Road, is brought to you by J-Dub Motorsports. I'm your host, Jay Walker. He's Juwan, my son, Devin, photographers, camera guys, chase car drivers. You know, you're going to be seeing a lot of those guys. Corey, big shout out to him. Grenard, man, Kyle. They'll be back in the fold. Trying to up my staff, man, because I can never have enough hands to help me out, man. It takes a village to run this operation. So I appreciate you guys for coming on and helping out. And we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Later.